Knicks kicking off the first of a 6-game West Coast gauntlet, kicking things off out in H-Town. The game that they needed, the game that they desperately needed, the gimme game, if you will. And they went out and took care of business from end to end. They were only down 3-0, and after that, they never looked back. Led by, once again, Julius Randle. MVP, MIP, call him what you want. Another 30-point outing by Julius to go along with 7 rebounds and 5 dimes. RJ would chip in with 21 points himself. And Derrick Rose would lead the bench with 24 of the bench 50 points. Rockets would cut this thing down to 9 in the third, man. Boy, Julius put up 15 in that third. And the Knicks would go on a 20-9 run to close it. And they would never look back, man. 122-97. Knicks get the W in H-Town. 8 games over 500. Number 4 seed in the East. Still put some respect on our name. This is Knicks Post Game Live. Number 1 show for the fans, by the fans, presented by Manscaped. CP Ashley Moss in the building. Ash, we got the one that we needed. First game on the road trip. Easy peasy. And they took care of business. What you think about tonight's game?
Yeah, listen, I mean, these are the games you're supposed to win, right? I mean, Houston, although they had, Kevin Porter Jr. had that incredible game where he dropped, what was it, like 40 plus?
50 piece on the Bucks, yeah.
So, I mean, they're good for it every now and then, but these are the games you're supposed to go ahead and win. These are the games you need to win, especially at this time in the season, and especially going on such a hardcore West Coast trip with a lot of teams that are a lot better than the Houston Rockets. So you got to go ahead and secure the wins that you can get while you can get them. But this was, it started off a little rocky. I was like, what's going on? Were you lethargic from having so many days off? But, again, we went ahead and figured it out. Everyone did what they needed to do to help secure the win. It was fantastic to finally get to see some of the starters get some rest in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we went all Big 15, man. Everybody got some runs. So that was good, especially because we got the back-to-back tomorrow in Memphis. So very important to get our guys some rest when they could, especially Julius. But I thought, he set the tone. Once again, set the tone. Rockets had absolutely no answer for Julius tonight. I was surprised because they single covered him most of the night. Rarely sent the double team, rarely went into a zone, and he just ate him alive. The Arsenal was on full display. Christian Wood, Kelly Olynyk, they had no answer for Julius. He was once again unstoppable tonight.
Beyond. I mean, he was out there bullying those young guys in Houston. He was straight sunning them. There was the one where I forget his name, but he flopped. And you watch the replay of Julius just like hammering him. He had no choice but to flop to save his body from getting banged up any more than it already was. I mean, Julius Randle, and I say this all the time, like the impressive thing about Julius is that as you watch a game progress, he gets stronger. It's kind of like Thanos. Every time he adds an infinity stone to his glove, he just gets stronger. As the quarters progress for Julius Randle, he just gets more and more powerful, more and more determined, just stronger. And it's infectious to all the other guys on the team, and they pick up and they play better when he's at his best. It's just, this was a great game just because we needed it, and it could have really gone in a totally different direction even after having so many days off. Sometimes it takes you a while to get to the swing of things, but the Knicks are all systems a go, man. They're not playing any games. That is for sure.
Locked in and loaded. Definitely want to see that. And as you said, they started the game off very rusty. You could tell a couple days off certainly did them well, but they, it took them a while to get into a groove. But once they did, they really didn't look back. So Julius, we'll give him the first game ball, 31 points, 7 boards, 6 dimes, 4 of 9 from downtown, 13 and 22 for the night. You couldn't ask for a more perfect box score. Second game ball, I'm going D Rose. Ash. 24 points, 4 dimes, 6 boards. He was on the boards early. 4 or 5 from downtown, 8 of 11. I thought D Rose looked spry tonight as opposed to the Chi-Town game. He looked like he was a bit tired from the Phoenix game. D Rose came in, he had fresh legs. Led the second unit to 50 points, and he was just in his bag, man. Vintage Rose performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing all the roses in the chat, well-deserved.
Throw the roses in the chat for
I say this all of the time, and I've been saying it. It's just so refreshing to see Derrick Rose, especially after, when he requested the trade from Detroit, and he went over, or rather, Coach went over what Coach Casey went over, what was said to him by Rose of why he wanted to be traded. And he said, he's on his last legs and this is his last stint. And to just kind of see a turnaround in Rose, it's like I said, playing is infectious. And I think being part of this team, being back in New York, being part of a group of guys who are hungry and determined to win and want to go ahead and prove all the naysayers wrong and are exceeding expectations. Yeah. It's just going ahead and just kind of igniting a new life in him. And I think that we're going to get this version of Derrick Rose for definitely a few more seasons. Yeah. I think that this is the beginning of a turnaround in what we're going to see from him. And I'm glad I was wrong when it came to Derrick Rose, because I was worried. I was worried, but I'm glad to be wrong in this case.
He's, there's if you want to put Julius and RJ up there for the reason that they're locked in fourth, you got to put Derrick Rose up there as well, man. They're now 20-8, I believe, since the Rose trade, and he's been in the lineup, and he's been everything that they've needed, the quintessential point guard, the floor general that they've needed. We saw him and Julius get into a pick and roll action early in the second quarter. I definitely love that. We saw that at the Sacramento game. When D Rose started those three games for Peyton. His chemistry with Julius is nice, and you're starting to see that rotation with Tibbs now. Rose being the first guard off the bench, he gets some run with Julius and RJ early, and then they ultimately put in the second unit with RJ to kind of finish up those quarters or get into that second quarter. So Rose was, again, outstanding. Definitely love how he played. And going across the bench, I thought IQ had another solid game. 13 points for him. 3 of 5 from downtown, 5 of 9. Once again, you got 50 points from the bench tonight. And that's going to be critical, not just on this stretch, but as we think about, postseason, we need our bench guys to step up. Number 6, number 7, number 8, those guys are going to be crucial to some wins.
No, definitely. Especially, in the postseason, the game changes, the intensity of the game changes, the speed of the game changes, and you don't want to go ahead and exhaust Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. You don't want to have them out there having games where they're not on their A game, because unlike a regular season where, if you have a bad game, you got, 70 plus more. You can't go ahead and do that in a series. Every single game counts, especially when you're trying to go ahead and win. So I really love that the bench is holding their own, holding down the fort. I love what Derrick Rose is, bringing out in those guys, IQ, everyone. Yeah. It's gonna be a battle wherever we end up falling. And I really love what the Knicks are doing also in terms of it. And Clyde said this during the broadcast, is there are a lot of teams who are kind of, standing watching. So you can kind of tell that they're worried about where they're going to fall, who they're going to play, and they're trying to go ahead and do things that are a little bit different than they did earlier in the season to kind of secure a certain playoff spot. The Knicks are taking it one game at a time. They're looking forward, just one game at a time. They're not worried about where they're going to fall. They're not worried about who they're going to play. And that's definitely something that is refreshing to see, especially in a team that was not supposed to be here. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We're not supposed to be here, and here we are. And we're just playing smart basketball, and I love it.
Yeah, so good to see IQ getting back into the swing of things. They once again 3 of 5 from downtown, 4 dimes. IQ stepping in with 4 dimes. He's getting into his facilitation bag a lot better as we close out the season. So that's good to see, because I think he kind of hit a little bit of a rookie wall during the grind of the season where he kind of slowed down in his facilitation. So IQ definitely picking things up. I also thought, how about this 18 of 35 from downtown-ish, 51% from 3. During this run, this team is ranked, I believe, 5th in the league right now in three-point percentage. I got to double-check that, but the offense is on an uptick, and they're shooting more threes and connecting. 50% from 3 tonight.
Yeah. And also one thing that I really love too is, and we speak about this, but I think we're seeing it more and more as the season progresses. I love how much of a facilitator that Julius Randle is on this team. Yeah. Even when he's not shooting his best, even when he's having an off quarter or an off few minutes, he's out there just dishing it to his team. I mean, he was passing out 3 balls to people like, Oprah passes out cards during that episode. You get an assist and you get an assist. It was great to see. He is somehow involved in the playmaking, in the offense of this team, even if he does not have the ball in his hand, taking the actual shot.
Big time.
And I mean, he just can do it all. It is honestly, we are so lucky to have Julius Randle. I am so happy that I've been aboard the Julius Randle Railroad since day one. unlike some other people, Ari, who will not be named.
Is Ari in the chat tonight? I didn't check on the chat yet. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your squad. I haven't seen Ari chirping just yet, man. So we'll see if he's coming in. Phone lines are up if you guys want to call in with your takes on the game, 657-383-1509. And also the Discord. Remember, you guys can call us on the Discord as well, especially our international viewers. You can certainly use that line for free. But in connection, you mentioned Julius assisting Ash, and I talked about the threes in connection to that. Julius leads the league in corner three assists. And that's huge because that's one of the areas that Tom Thibodeau had emphasized when he came in as part of his offensive philosophy. He wanted the corner three. The corner three, the shortest three-pointer in the game, is one that we know the Spurs have utilized every year on the Greg Popovich. Only makes sense. But to see that now, you see it on the tape, and when you're watching the games, especially with like Bullock and RJ, those guys kind of leaking out to the corners at last second, and Julius kind of catching them, whether it's in the middle of a shot or just catching them late, drawing the defense in and catching them late. Julius Randle leads the league in corner three assists. So that's tremendous.
I love that corner three. That's actually my favorite three-pointer. I mean, obviously, I love one from the logo. I love a long 30-footer, 40-footer, whatever you want to call it. But that corner three, if that is your sweet spot, and that's what we're starting to see in RJ too. I mean, it's not as consistent as I want it to be. There was a moment in the season though where he was hitting those like nobody's business, Facts. I would love to see him continue to work on that aspect of his game because, like you said, it is such an easy three-pointer to make that if you can go ahead and put that in your bag of tricks, it just makes you an even more just dangerous player and just more versatile all the way around. So
they were 27th in the league last year and in the low 20s. They were basically at the bottom of the league under Fizdale in corner three attempts. This year under Tibbs, they're 9th. So, as I said, he's been emphasizing that area. They've been connecting. You mentioned RJ. Easy peasy night for RJ. 21 points, 7 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown, 4 of 5 from the free throw line to go along with 7 boards, 5 dimes, 2 steals for RJ. It was a light work for RJ today. He was in his bag.
Yeah. You already know how I feel about my 9 god. And I mean, listen, I gotta give credit where credit is due too. Obi is looking more and more comfortable out there as well. I can't, I know the Obi Hive, the Obi Avengers are in the chat. I can't go ahead and ignore him. Yeah. I don't know if it's because he knows he has a baby on the way. He's got to ball out on a different level, but
rejuvenated.
And congratulations on that. By
congrats
the way,
to Obi. Congrats to Obi, man.
Congratulations. Gonna be a girl dad. But I love that we're starting to get Obi comfortable in this moment of the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like the perfect time to go ahead and start getting comfortable and start getting more and more involved. And not only that, but I think he's starting to earn the trust of his teammates and more importantly of Tibbs. You see that now he's getting more involved. The plays are better utilizing him. His teammates aren't afraid to kind of pass him the ball, get him involved in situations because they're really starting to kind of believe that Obi's starting to believe what kind of player he can be. So
5 points tonight. 1 of 4 from the field, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. That's the area I want to see him get to. If his shots aren't falling, if he's not getting the ball enough, attack the rim. And he was able to do that tonight. 3 of 4 from the field. Got a block on Kenny Martin Jr. Kenny Martin Jr. came back and got him. So, it was Obi was putting in work tonight. Finished with 17 minutes. Ended up getting a lot of those in garbage time. But as we said, the confidence is certainly there. And he's playing better defense and also rebounding. So, good job by Obi. Definitely.
Some good news from Woj is that the x-rays on the sprained left ankle of Nerlens Noel were negative, and he will be evaluated again on Monday. So.
Interesting. So we did lose Nerlens. Unfortunately, lost Nerlens to a sprained ankle in this game. I highly doubt he goes tomorrow against Valanciunas, so Taj is going to have to step up. Pell is going to have to step up. Julie saw, we're going to have to rebound a lot because Valanciunas is a monster on those boards, especially on the offensive glass for Memphis. So it's going to have to be rebounded by a committee, Obi as well. And also, the paint protection wasn't that good tonight. And I hope that they can tighten up on that, especially tomorrow against Memphis. And the test is gonna get harder as they go through this West Coast trip. So one of the things with this, with this game and going forward, the defense is gonna get tested. They came back a little bit, so they're gonna get tested as we get back into this gauntlet.
But it's also so important, and I'm going to sound like a broken record because I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. It is so important for the Knicks moving forward because, like you said, you're going to get tested. You're going to get tested on defense. You're going to get tested on offense. But it's so important for the Knicks to not abandon the game that got them this far. So regardless of who you are playing, defense always travels with you. Do not go into these games trying to get into shootouts with guys. You don't have the same depth that a Phoenix Suns has, or a Clippers team has, or a Lakers team has. Go in there and play New York basketball. New York basketball is making it uncomfortable for shooters to get their shots up. It's being all over them. It's playing a tight defensive game for 4 quarters straight. Don't go in there trying to be a different team. Go in there and be the New York Knicks, because that is what got you this far. And that is what's going to be the difference maker on how we come out of this road trip.
Yeah.
This West Coast trip. If we're going to come out with 4 wins, or we're going to come out with just 1 win, or we're going to come out with 6, that's going to be the difference maker. If we can take the game that we play in New York City and bring it with us and not abandon it. And that is the most important thing.
True story. B from New York. B, what's going on, bro?
Yo, what's good, CP?
What's good, bro?
Man, you the boss. And Ashley, a salute to you. I saw you on SNY the other day. Congratulations to all your success.
Thank you.
But real simple. I've always been on that Julius Randle trade, or that Julius Randle train. Ooh. And I gotta say, man, like the thing with New York, is that I think that we solidified. This is not where stars are born, but it's where stars are made.
Yeah.
And so Julius Randle is a made star, son. And so you don't trade him. Obviously, we know that already.
Yeah.
But, the question that I raised for you, CP, because I'm hearing a lot of talk about Damian Lillard. And also, Ashley, I don't want Damian Lillard, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because that means that we're going to have to give up a lot. So I'd rather Lonzo. If you had a pick, though, CP and Ashley, which one would y'all do? Would you do Lonzo or would you do Dame?
I mean, if we're trying to get serious about winning, bro, I appreciate the call. We going Dame all day. I mean, listen.
Oh, facts.
Look. Here's the thing on the Dame thing. I'm not buying it. I'm not trying to forecast years down the road, Ash. I'm trying to be in the moment right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we 4th in the playoffs. Dame is a loyal dude. I don't see that situation getting to a point where, he's asking out. They're in the playoffs right now, Ash. They're in the middle of a playoff fight. It's not happening. He's frustrated, but let's not go there again, man. I'm tired of it right now, Ash.
It's not happening. Damian Lillard is the Bradley Beal of the West Coast. Like, he will not leave Portland. It's not happening. He is determined to make that situation work. I know in a perfect world, it sounds incredible, just like the rumors of Karl Anthony Towns and things like that. It's not happening. Right. I know we like to, think in the future, in addition to trying to live in the present and think, well, what would it be like if we had this person and that person? How far could we get next season? Truth of the matter is this is where we are. Yeah. The Lonzo situation is much more of a reality.
Far more realistic.
And Damian Lillard is. Yeah. And Lonzo also, I mean, granted, like you said, if Damian Lillard, let's say in a perfect world that did happen, right? Obviously, if you're trying to win right away, you get Dame. But I think because it's not happening, Lonzo's just a better fit in the long scheme of what the New York Knicks can be. He's younger. You can mold him a little bit better. He's not stuck in any of his ways, things like that. Damian, he's not probably going to cost you nearly as much money.
Not going to cost you nearly as much.
The Damian Lillard thing's just not even a conversation worth having.
It's not even a conversation worth having. But what B and the fans, see this is where the fans are at right now, Ash, is that, they feel like the way this team is, they want to leave everything as is, just keep adding pieces through the draft, and feel like naturally the team is gonna succeed and win. That's not likely. Not to say it's impossible. But when you're looking at the 20-something picks in the draft, it's not likely, bro. Right now, real talk, we love Julius. We need a guy that is better than him to realistically win this thing. We're just talking about talent right now, Ash. Just being realistic. So, the thing with Dame is, you're going to have to pay to play if you're trying to get him. But that thing was such a reach. It's not even worth, discussing even further, man. back on the Discord. King Deej, what's going on, bro? What's
First
good,
off,
bro?
hit that thumbs up button, and for the squad, the dynamic duo is in the building.
Let's do it.
Got Batman and Superwoman.
Let's do it.
And listen, I'm gonna say this real quick about Dame, man. This needs to stop. Mark Berman, I like you a lot, but man, you always come out with one article per year about somebody coming, and then they don't come. That man Dame sat in a room with the past owner, the former owner of the Blazers that passed away. Rest in peace. I don't know his name specifically.
Paul Allen.
Yes, Paul Allen. And he sat there and said, I ain't going nowhere. That's what he said. And that man passed away, and Dame, he's keeping that commitment. So let's get off that, man.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that the Knicks, like I said, this is the game that I felt they needed to win, because the rest of the games is going to be all difficult. Not impossible to win, but all difficult. I just like how everybody kept attacking. You could tell they was all fully focused. Yeah. This whole team as a unit, fully focused. Memphis lost to Orlando with a crazy shot against Cole Anthony. So they and they this is how we got our winning streak to start. So they're gonna be fully motivated. They home, they fighting for their playing lives right now. So tomorrow's gonna be a big game. I'm glad Nerlens is okay. We definitely not gonna get him tomorrow, but on the bright side, I like what Tibbs did. He didn't use Burks tonight. So we might see Burks tomorrow. I'm just praying that,
Hope so.
that they ready for that, because Memphis is on a war. That kid, John, man,
he's on a war. Yeah, man. They're on a war path, man.
Different. Sure. But that's all I wanted to say. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
I'll hit y'all tomorrow.
Appreciate you. Memphis did lose yesterday in the Cole Anthony buzzer beater, so they have playoffs aspirations themselves, battling in the West for that 8th spot or the play-in spot. Lost to the Knicks in a thrilling overtime game at Madison Square Garden, so they're gonna have revenge on their mind. It's good that the Knicks are getting rest, and they can get there in full strength.
Did you see his Cole Anthony's interview afterwards though? Hilarious.
I saw bits and pieces. Man.
Hilarious. that was funny, non-Knicks related. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like he just kept saying, yeah. Yeah.
Cole is hilarious, man.